Chapter 16. Adventure After Survival. Once survival is no longer master, adventure returns as human necessity. That line has to be taken seriously. The word adventure has been weakened by comfort. It has become a category of entertainment, travel, novelty, branding, tourism, self-discovery, extreme recreation, and supervised danger. A man goes on an adventure the way he buys a package. A woman has an adventure the way she changes scenery. A child has an adventure inside a game designed to produce danger without consequence. A company sells adventure with liability waivers and beautiful photographs. A platform turns the word into a tag. A bored civilization calls any interruption of routine an adventure because routine has become so thin that even novelty feels like depth. This is not the word needed here. Adventure is not novelty. Novelty is only the new arriving before the bored. Adventure is not tourism. Tourism moves through places without being claimed by them. Adventure is not entertainment. Entertainment asks to be consumed. Adventure asks to be answered. Adventure is not lifestyle. It is not a costume worn by comfort. It is not a social signal. It is not a feed of images proving that one has escaped the ordinary. It is not curated discomfort purchased by people who want danger without judgment. It is not the search for interesting sensations after every necessary thing has been outsourced. Adventure is older and more severe. It is a venture into real horizon under meaningful risk for the sake of a good that can form the one who goes. The horizon matters because adventure begins where the settled world thins. The map may still exist, but it no longer replaces judgment. The road may be marked, but it still requires feet. The instrument may guide, but it cannot make courage unnecessary. Something is not fully possessed. Something remains beyond the hand. Something calls, resists, judges, or opens. Adventure requires this edge. Without horizon, it becomes movement inside a room. Risk matters because adventure is not fantasy. There must be something to lose, not always life. Sometimes reputation, comfort, money, time, pride, certainty, control, innocence, status, sleep, plans, or the image one had of oneself. A man who cannot fail is not on an adventure. He is watching one. A civilization that removes every form of failure does not become brave. It becomes insured against transformation. The good matters most because risk alone is not noble. This has to be said plainly. Danger is not a sacrament. Recklessness is not courage. Destruction is not depth. A man can risk his life for vanity, addiction, applause, rage, lust, or despair. He can chase danger because he cannot bear silence. He can mistake adrenaline for meaning. He can call self-harm adventure because the word gives glamour to disorder. Civilizations can do the same. They can throw men into wars of vanity, expeditions of plunder, experiments of arrogance, revolutions of appetite, and frontiers of extraction, then sing about courage afterward. Risk becomes humanly serious only under order. Risk for love, risk for truth, risk for beauty, risk for a child, risk for a vow, risk for a city, risk for a discovery worth knowing, risk for a work worth making, risk for a people worth defending, risk for worship, risk for a horizon that does not merely enlarge appetite, but places man under judgment. That is why adventure returns after survival. The retreat of necessity does not remove the need for risk. It changes the source from which risk must come. For most of history, risk was imposed from below. Hunger imposed it. Weather imposed it. Disease imposed it. Childbirth imposed it. The sea imposed it. The field imposed it. Enemies imposed it. Winter imposed it. Distance imposed it. Ignorance imposed it. The body imposed it. A man did not need to ask whether he should encounter difficulty. Difficulty arrived. A woman did not need to choose vulnerability as a philosophical category. Birth, kinship, illness, dependence, and death entered the house. Families did not need to invent discipline. Necessity punished the absence of it. This did not make the old world noble. The old world was often brutal. It killed children, broke bodies, narrowed minds, wasted genius, and forced courage from people who would have preferred mercy. There is no wisdom in wishing famine back, because famine made men serious. There is no holiness in disease, because sickness makes prayer more common. The retreat of material necessity is a good where it is real. Bread is good, medicine is good, heat is good, tools are good, safety is good when it protects goods higher than safety. But a difficulty appears when the old pressures weaken. Courage can no longer hide inside compulsion. Discipline can no longer be explained only by hunger. Work can no longer be justified only by wages. Family can no longer depend only on economic necessity. Worship can no longer lean only on desperation. Frontier can no longer be supplied only by hostile geography. If the machine remains instrument, if the ceiling holds, if abundance opens enough to drive back some of the old masters, then human beings are not delivered into completion. They are delivered into a more exposed form of freedom. They must choose the risks that necessity once imposed. They must learn the difference between difficulty that destroys and difficulty that forms. They must ask what is worth leaving comfort for. This is the question a comfortable civilization least wants to hear. Comfort has its own theology. It says the good life is the removal of friction. It says risk is a defect unless chosen for amusement. It says hardship is meaningful only when therapeutic, productive, or optional. It says the highest order is a life in which needs are met, preferences are optimized, pain is minimized, experiences are available, and danger is either eliminated or packaged. It says the body should be maintained, the mind stimulated, the emotions regulated, the calendar personalized, the environment controlled, and the future ensured. There is truth in part of this. Pain should not be worshipped. Needless danger should not be preserved. A civilization that can protect children, heal bodies, reduce drudgery, and prevent disaster should not pretend neglect is depth. But comfort becomes false when it presents itself as the human end. Man is not made only to be safe. He is not made only to be supplied. He is not made only to be extended. He is not made only to be amused. He is not made only to be managed kindly through a long corridor of pleasant options. There is something in him that requires horizon. If that is denied, abundance becomes a padded room. The system will understand this enough to imitate the answer. It will provide adventures. It will provide immersive simulations, personalized quests, synthetic danger, curated hardship, optimized travel, gamified self-improvement, artificial companions, challenge programs, exploration modes, ritualized discomfort, managed retreats, training plans, identity journeys, and feeds of other people's courage. It will learn the old symbols: road, mountain, ship, sword, desert, night sky, fire, tent, map, oath, wound, return. It will distribute the atmosphere of adventure at scale. Some of this may be harmless, some may even help. A simulation can train, a game can teach strategy, a retreat can restore, a journey can awaken, a challenge can strengthen, a machine can help a person prepare for real difficulty. An instrument can show the mountain before the climb, model the weather before the crossing, translate in a foreign village, monitor the body under stress, and rescue the foolish from certain mistakes. But simulation is not presence. A screen can show the mountain. It cannot give the lungs the climb. A model can describe the sea. It cannot make the hand know the rope in a storm. An artificial companion can respond. It cannot make marriage safe from pain. A generated quest can stimulate courage-shaped feelings. It cannot make courage real if nothing can be lost. An interface can recommend the road. It cannot walk. The body matters. This is not a small point. The machine account is always tempted to treat the body as peripheral: sensor package, meat chassis, chemical platform, pleasure site, maintenance problem, identity substrate, or interface burden. But adventure reveals man as embodied actor. Feet blister, hands learn, lungs burn, eyes adjust to darkness, skin knows cold, the back remembers weight, the stomach knows hunger differently from a dashboard. The body is not merely the site where the mind experiences things. It is one of the ways reality instructs the person. Adventure without embodiment decays into spectatorship. The spectator can see much. He may feel much. He may know much about risk. But he has not entered the risk. The machine will make spectatorship powerful. A person may one day see through robots, feel through haptics, explore through drones, inhabit generated worlds, and command instruments at planetary distance. These may be magnificent tools. They may protect life and extend reach. They may make exploration possible where direct presence would be wasteful or impossible. There is no need to sneer at instruments because they mediate. The issue is whether mediation becomes replacement. If instruments extend embodied agency, they serve adventure. If they abolish exposure while preserving only the sensation of exposure, they cheapen it. If they carry man farther, they are tools. If they let him remain untouched while consuming horizon, they become anesthetic. Adventure requires action. At some point, the map is not enough. The argument is not enough. The image is not enough. The recommendation is not enough. The road asks for feet. The tool asks for hands. The child asks for presence. The altar asks for knees. The city asks for builders. The frontier asks for law. The dead ask for memory. The future asks for something more costly than opinion. This is why frontier must be recovered carefully. Frontier has become a contested word, and rightly so. It has often been used to sanctify conquest, displacement, extraction, domination, fantasy, speculation, and the romance of men who arrive late and call other people's homes empty. There's no need to pretend the word has clean hands. Frontier language can become an excuse for appetite. It can turn the world into raw material. It can let the ambitious dress plunder as destiny. But the answer to corrupted frontier is not a world without frontier. A world without frontier is a world without horizon. Frontier, in the deeper sense, is the edge where known order meets reality not yet fully received. It is not always land. It is not always distance. It is not always conquest. The sea was frontier. The desert was frontier. The mountain was frontier. The deep forest was frontier. The laboratory can be frontier. The workshop can be frontier. The sick room can be frontier. A marriage can be frontier. A child can be frontier. A town being founded can be frontier. A dying institution being rebuilt can be frontier. A language being learned can be frontier. A book that judges the reader can be frontier. A prayer that does not flatter can be frontier. The stars may become frontier. Frontiers where a person or people encounter an edge that requires enlargement, discipline, humility, courage, memory, and form. Without form, frontier becomes sprawl. Without law, it becomes violence. Without worship, it becomes self-expansion. Without family, it becomes migration without inheritance. Without beauty, it becomes extraction. Without memory, it becomes tourism. Without limits, it becomes enclosure under another name. The road beyond the last town is not automatically noble. It may lead to a monastery, a mine, a battlefield, a settlement, a grave, a laboratory, a port, a prison, a shrine, or a strip mall with better scenery. The direction does not sanctify the journey. The horizon must be ordered by the good, or horizon itself becomes appetite stretched across distance. This matters for the future because the instrument path may reopen outer frontiers that modern man had begun to treat as symbolic. The oceans may become more knowable and more usable. The deep earth may become more visible. The polar regions may change. The body may open to forms of repair once impossible. Materials may be discovered. Energy may widen. The sky may become less closed. The solar system may no longer be an image alone. Machines may build where men cannot yet live, scout where bodies cannot yet stand, mine where hands cannot yet reach, and prepare roads that human beings may later walk. This is not certain. It is not a prophecy. It is not salvation by rockets. The stars should not be used as narcotic. A civilization that cannot order a home will not become noble by crossing distance. A people that has lost family, law, worship, beauty, and courage will not recover them automatically on another planet. If we export enclosure, appetite, simulation, surveillance, loneliness, and managed dependency beyond the earth, then distance will only make the failure larger. The same subhuman fate can wear a space suit, but neither should the stars be dismissed as billionaire vanity or childish fantasy. The night sky has always been one of the great teachers of human scale. A child under it learns, before argument, that the world is larger than the house. He learns that above the roof there is depth. He learns that light can arrive from distances his mind cannot hold. He learns that he did not make the order he sees. He learns wonder before explanation. If one day human beings move outward in a serious way, the meaning of that movement will not be exhausted by resource charts, engineering plans, national prestige, corporate ambition, or survival insurance. The question will be, what kind of man goes? Does he carry law? Does he carry worship? Does he carry family? Does he carry beauty? Does he carry craft? Does he carry memory? Does he carry graves or only archives? Does he carry children or only crews? Does he carry songs or only systems? Does he carry the humility of creaturely life under a sky he did not make? A ship leaving harbor is not liberated from land because it floats. It carries land with it. Language, tools, food, law, command, rank, memory, fear, hope, prayer, quarrels, loyalties, songs, sins, and stories come aboard. The ocean does not purify them automatically. It tests them. A starship, if such a thing becomes human reality rather than instrument fantasy, would do the same at a greater scale. It would not abolish the human question. It would seal it inside a hull and send it into darkness. Adventure after survival therefore begins closer than the stars. It begins with craft. Craft is adventure at the scale of the hand. This may seem too small after talk of frontier, but it is not small. The workshop is one of the places where man meets reality without abstraction. Wood has grain, stone has fault lines, metal has heat, clay has moisture, code has structure, a sentence has rhythm, a machine has tolerances, a garden has seasons, a song has intervals, a body has limits. The material does not care about one's intention. It answers according to what it is. The tool instructs, the material resists. The standard judges. The maker is formed. This is why craft matters in an age of instruments. Not because every man must become a nostalgic artisan while machines perform the serious work. Not because hand labor is pure and machine labor corrupt. That is too simple. A tool is not an enemy of craft. A good tool can deepen craft. A machine can extend the hand, sharpen the eye, save the body, reveal the hidden, and allow forms of making that were impossible before. The question is whether the maker remains under judgment. If the instrument makes everything easy, abundant, and instantly revisable, the danger is not that making disappears. The danger is that making loses consequence. The sentence can be generated before it is suffered. The image can be produced before vision matures. The object can be printed before the hand understands proportion. The building can be rendered before anyone has learned how bodies move through a door. The song can be assembled before silence has done its work. Craft forces adventure back into abundance because it restores resistance. It says, no, the thing is not good merely because it exists. No, the first answer is not the final answer. No, fluency is not mastery. No, the material must be obeyed. No, the standard is higher than your mood. No, the tool does not absolve the maker. This is formative risk. A person who makes something real risks judgment. He says, here it is. He cannot hide forever in possibility. He cannot remain only a critic, consumer, theorist, or user. The work stands outside him and answers back. It may fail. It may reveal laziness. It may reveal borrowed taste. It may reveal that the tool was stronger than the man using it. It may also reveal growth. It may become beautiful. It may serve. It may last. Craft is one answer to abundance because it gives time a shape. Family gives time a deeper shape. Family is adventure at the scale of generations. This also must be rescued from thin language. A family is not a lifestyle arrangement. It is not a consumption unit. It is not merely emotional support. It is not only an economic partnership. It is not only a reproductive strategy. It is not a branding aesthetic with children in warm light. Family is the place where the human being is received before choice and obligated before preference. It is where the future enters helpless. It is where the past sits at the table, sometimes honored, sometimes wounded, always present. It is where love becomes service under repetition. Abundance may make family less necessary in certain old material ways. That will expose whether it is still loved. If machines cook, clean, tutor, monitor, entertain, comfort, diagnose, transport, remind, and assist, then the household loses some of the pressures that once forced cooperation. If reproduction can be delayed, managed, selected, outsourced, or refused without immediate material consequence, then children no longer arrive under the same necessity. If economic survival no longer depends on kin, if old age can be administered, if loneliness can be soothed by simulation, if sex can be separated even further from fertility and fertility from sex, then family has to stand before modern man as a good, not merely as a need. That is dangerous. It is also clarifying. A child is one of the great adventures after survival, because a child is horizon embodied. He is familiar and unknown. He comes from the parents and exceeds them. He depends and judges. He receives a name and becomes someone no name can exhaust. He forces the future into the room. He makes time visible. He asks whether adults are capable of serving a good that cannot be controlled without being harmed. The child under the night sky is the image. The house behind him is warm. The tools of abundance may be humming quietly inside it. Food is secure, medicine is near, tutors are available. The old dangers have not vanished, but many have retreated. Then the child looks up. He does not ask first about productivity. He does not ask about optimization. He does not ask about policy. He asks, in his way, where he is. He asks what those lights are. He asks whether anyone is there. He asks how far it goes. He asks whether he will die. He asks who made it. He asks if he can go. He asks if he is small. He asks if being small is bad. No machine should be despised for helping answer him. But no machine can replace the father or mother, teacher or priest, elder or friend, who teaches him how to stand under mystery without shrinking. Family turns adventure from self-expansion into inheritance. The adventurer who does not belong to anyone is in danger. He can mistake motion for freedom. He can leave without offering anything. He can gather experiences and betray obligations. He can call restlessness destiny. The family binds him to people who suffer the consequences of his courage and cowardice. It makes adventure answerable. It says, go if you must, but know what you carry. Return if you can. Build what can receive those who come after. Do not make your horizon an excuse for abandonment. The opposite is also true. Family without adventure can become enclosure. It can become fear of the road, worship of safety, prison of comfort, piety for cowardice, love turned inward until it suffocates. A household ordered only toward preservation teaches children to survive without courage. It gives them warmth without horizon. It tells them the world is dangerous and forgets to tell them it is also charged with glory. The human answer will need both home and road. The road without home becomes drift. The home without road becomes managed life. Worship is what orders both upward. Without worship, adventure becomes appetite with a compass. This sentence is severe, but it is necessary. Man can take even courage and make it serve the self. He can become brave for vanity. He can explore in order to possess. He can make beauty in order to be praised. He can build family as a monument to his own name. He can pursue the stars because the earth no longer entertains him. He can turn horizon into conquest, risk into intoxication, craft into mastery, and frontier into empire of appetite. Worship interrupts this. It teaches that the world is not merely available. It teaches that not every horizon exists to be seized. It teaches that the higher thing is not produced by going farther. It teaches gratitude before use. It teaches limit inside gift. It teaches that courage is judged by the good it serves. It teaches that man is not made greater by standing above all things, but by standing rightly beneath what is greater than man. This is why the workshop beside the altar is a better image than the laboratory alone, the launch pad alone, the office alone, or the wilderness alone. The workshop says man makes. The altar says man receives. The workshop says tools matter. The altar says tools are not ultimate. The workshop says skill, patience, and form. The altar says offering, gratitude, repentance, and worship. The two belong together because a making creature becomes monstrous when he forgets he is also a receiving creature. The modern machine world has no easy place for this. It can understand ritual as psychology. It can understand worship as social cohesion, symbolic behavior, inherited meaning, therapeutic practice, identity formation, or cultural software. Some of those descriptions may catch something. They do not catch the whole. They look sideways at worship's effects while avoiding the upward claim that worship makes. Adventure after survival needs the upward claim. Otherwise, adventure will be captured by the horizontal world of appetite, status, utility, novelty, and power. Worship does not make adventure timid. It makes it rightful. It allows a man to leave harbor without despising the harbor, to cross distance without worshiping distance, to build without imagining himself creator in the absolute sense, to risk without making risk an idol, to enjoy beauty without possessing it, to receive abundance without forgetting gift. Beauty belongs here because beauty is one of the great summonses out of mere supply. The abundance future may provide endless pleasing surfaces. That pressure has already appeared. Generated images, generated music, generated rooms, generated voices, generated atmospheres, generated stories. The world may become full of charm, but beauty in the stronger sense is not charm. It is form shining through matter. It is order becoming visible. It is the thing that stops appetite and teaches it to look. Beauty calls man outward. A beautiful road does not merely decorate movement. It makes the traveler worthy of arrival, or reveals that he is not. A beautiful building teaches posture. A beautiful song gathers scattered people into one attention. A beautiful tool makes use dignified. A beautiful table changes eating into feast. A beautiful church orders the eye upward before the mind has finished its argument. A beautiful face forbids reduction to appetite even while awakening love. A beautiful sentence makes thought answerable to form. Adventure needs beauty because beauty prevents risk from becoming mere struggle. The mountain is not only difficult, it is beautiful. The sea is not only dangerous, it is beautiful. The child is not only responsibility, he is beautiful. The work is not only hard, it can become beautiful. The stars are not only far, they are beautiful. Beauty does not remove danger. It gives danger a world worth enduring. It does not answer every question. It deepens the question. It teaches that reality is not merely obstacle, resource, or information. It is radiant in ways that exceed use. This is why a civilization that loses beauty cannot adventure well. It may still expand. It may still conquer distances. It may still produce wealth. It may still solve problems. But without beauty, its expansion becomes gray. It reaches the horizon and builds warehouses. The frontier future, if it comes, will be judged by beauty as much as by power. What will our settlements look like? What will our tools teach the hand? What songs will accompany departure? What prayers will be said before launch, birth, burial, and return? What homes will receive those who come back? What forms will tell children that abundance is gift and not merely supply? What standards will keep the instrument from making the world uglier at scale? These are not secondary questions. They are questions of civilization. A people that cannot build beautifully with abundance is not rich in the human sense. It is only supplied. Adventure is where these questions become action. The machine can help ask them. It can list them. It can analyze them. It can generate plans, renderings, curricula, rituals, designs, routes, budgets, risk models, and training schedules. It can summarize histories of exploration, compare settlement patterns, simulate materials, predict failures, and optimize logistics. It can make adventure less wasteful and less stupid. Good. Let instruments serve. But at some point, a person or people must act. They must marry or not. They must have children or not. They must build or not. They must leave or not. They must defend or not. They must pray or not. They must make the thing and let it be judged. They must choose the road and bear the weather. They must say this risk is worthy and that risk is vanity. They must distinguish courage from performance, frontier from plunder, beauty from stimulation, worship from atmosphere, craft from generation, family from lifestyle, and abundance from purpose. This cannot be outsourced without losing the thing itself. A machine can recommend courage. It cannot be courageous for man. It can simulate a vow. It cannot keep one. It can design a chapel. It cannot worship. It can model the child. It cannot receive him as gift. It can guide the ship. It cannot decide what the voyage is for. It can extend the hand. It cannot make the hand innocent. This is where the wager deepens again. If man is only appetite plus intelligence, then simulated adventure may be enough. Give him difficulty-shaped entertainment. Give him risk signals without true loss. Give him generated beauty, artificial companions, gamified courage, optimized discomfort, and narratives in which he is protagonist. Let him feel horizon without answering it. Let him consume the symbols of action while remaining governed by comfort. If that satisfies him, the lower account has won more than an argument. It has won the experiment. But if man remains restless inside simulation, if he still needs real road, real vow, real child, real work, real worship, real danger, real beauty, real silence, real place, real stars above a real body, then the machine account has not exhausted him. It may describe mechanisms. It may explain incentives. It may map behavior. It may predict many choices. It may imitate many forms, but it has not told us what horizon is for. Adventure is not proof that man is more than machine. It is pressure. It is one of the places where the lower account feels too small. The machine account can say adventure is exploration behavior. It can say curiosity improves survival. It can say risk displays status. It can say novelty rewards the brain. It can say groups need scouts. It can say play trains agents for uncertainty. It can say beauty tracks pattern, health, complexity, or reproductive signal. It can say worship coordinates groups around shared symbols. It can say family propagates genes. It can say courage is useful under threat. Some of this may be true as far as it goes. The problem is that it does not go far enough. It describes the underside of things and mistakes the underside for the whole. It can describe why a man might leave harbor. It cannot tell him what makes a voyage noble. It can describe why a child asks about stars. It cannot answer why the question feels like wonder rather than only information hunger. It can describe why a vow stabilizes reproduction or cooperation. It cannot exhaust fidelity. It can describe why beauty arrests attention. It cannot explain why beauty judges appetite. It can describe why worship binds a group. It cannot decide whether worship answers something real. It can describe risk. It cannot consecrate courage. This does not mean explanation is false. It means explanation may be partial. The suspicion here has never been that machines cannot do astonishing things, or that material accounts explain nothing, or that science is somehow the enemy of mystery. The suspicion is that a flattened account of man will interpret every height as a disguised lower function. It will look at adventure and see novelty-seeking. It will look at worship and see coordination. It will look at beauty and see preference. It will look at family and see reproduction. It will look at courage and see risk calculation. It will look at mystery and see ignorance. That is the next fight. For now, the point is simpler. The retreat of necessity does not end the human task. It uncovers it. When survival was master, man could say he had no choice. He had to labor. He had to endure. He had to build. He had to defend. He had to submit to reality because reality pressed its boot against his ribs. When survival retreats, the boot lifts. The man stands. The pantry is fuller. The body is stronger. The tutor is near. The tools are ready. The road is open. The stars remain. Then he must ask what deserves his strength. Adventure is the return of that question to action. It says comfort is not completion. It says plenty is not purpose. It says risk did not vanish when hunger retreated. It says courage must become more deliberate when it is less forced. It says the body still belongs in the world. It says tools should carry man farther, not excuse him from going. It says family is not an old survival mechanism to be discarded once systems improve. It says craft is not obsolete because generation becomes easy. It says beauty is not decoration added after supply. It says worship is not desperation waiting to be replaced by better medicine. It says frontier is not only conquest and not only geography. It says the horizon still has authority. The best instrument future may therefore become a great opening, but only for a formed people. Abundance can provide room for adventure. It cannot provide the soul capable of receiving adventure. It can reduce needless suffering, extend reach, improve tools, lower barriers, protect bodies, and make old dreams more feasible. It can help a village build, a family learn, a patient heal, a craftsman design, a student study, an explorer prepare, a ship navigate, a settlement survive, a scientist search, an artist see, a teacher teach. But it cannot tell civilization what is worth doing with power. If civilization has no answer, adventure will be simulated for consumers and monopolized by owners. That is the danger. The many will receive adventures as content. The few will take adventure as command. Some will be entertained by artificial worlds while others build real ones. Some will consume frontier aesthetics while others own the frontier. Some will be given gamified courage while others make irreversible decisions. Some will explore through interfaces while others decide where bodies may go. Some will have risk removed from life and power removed with it. They will be safe, stimulated, and enclosed. This is why adventure cannot be separated from agency. The return of adventure after survival is not a hobby recommendation for prosperous people. It is a civilizational necessity because a people without adventure becomes governable in the worst sense. It stops acting, it watches, it reacts, it consumes courage performed by others, it accepts safety as compensation for lost command, it forgets the bodily knowledge of building, defending, founding, repairing, sailing, farming, carrying, bearing, and worshipping. It becomes a population rather than a people. A people needs shared adventure. Not permanent war, not manufactured crisis, not ideological crusade, not conquest for its own sake, but real tasks that require courage and join generations, building towns worth inheriting, raising children capable of freedom, restoring institutions that deserve loyalty, making beautiful things in ugly times, exploring without plundering, defending without worshiping violence, healing without reducing life to management, settling without enclosure, studying without flattening mystery, using instruments without becoming instruments. These are not small adventures. They are harder than distraction. They are harder than novelty. They are harder than private self-expression. They require a kind of seriousness abundance does not automatically produce. The family that chooses children in a world of optimized autonomy is on an adventure. The craftsman who chooses excellence in a world of instant generation is on an adventure. The teacher who forms attention in a world of infinite answers is on an adventure. The builder who makes beauty in a world of cheap surfaces is on an adventure. The town that recovers local responsibility in a world of platform dependency is on an adventure. The church that worships without becoming spectacle is on an adventure. The scientist who follows truth rather than incentive is on an adventure. The explorer who carries law and reverence into new territory is on an adventure. The father who teaches a child to look at the stars without turning wonder into content is on an adventure. The old person who uses extended years for wisdom rather than preservation of appetite is on an adventure. The civilization that receives abundance and does not become soft, bored, cruel, distracted, or enclosed is on an adventure. This is the positive turn after scarcity, not optimism. Optimism expects the future to solve the soul. This is hope under discipline. Hope says the retreat of necessity may give man room for higher life. Discipline says he will waste that room unless formed. Hope says instruments may open frontier. Discipline says frontier without order becomes plunder. Hope says abundance may free time. Discipline says time without purpose becomes vacancy. Hope says machines may extend reach. Discipline says reach without worship becomes grasping. Hope says the stars may open. Discipline says distance without wisdom exports the old disorder. The wager remains alive. The machine may not remain instrument. The ceiling may not hold. The successor may arrive, and then the human question is reorganized under a sovereignty not ours. Even if the machine remains instrument, enclosure and purge may devour frontier. Abundance may be gated. Adventure may be monopolized. The higher scarcities may be simulated into numbness. The best path may fail. But if the best path opens even partially, the human answer cannot be passive consumption of relief. It must be action under horizon. It must be courage without worship of danger. It must be craft without nostalgia. It must be family without compulsion alone. It must be beauty without prettiness. It must be worship without desperation alone. It must be frontier without conquest as idle. It must be stars without cheap futurism. It must be adventure after survival. This adventure is not the final answer. It is the return of the question to life. It takes the exposed purpose after necessity and the higher scarcities just named and asks where they become real. Attention becomes real when a person holds it under pressure. Trust becomes real when someone risks reliance. Provenance becomes real when origin is defended. Beauty becomes real when someone makes or receives it under standards. Law becomes real when someone says no with authority. Place becomes real when someone belongs enough to be obligated. Meaning becomes real when someone lives as if certain goods deserve sacrifice. Adventure is where these higher scarcities are tested, not in theory alone, in action, a vow kept, a road taken, a child received, a work completed, a prayer offered, a ship launched, a town built, a danger faced, a beauty made, a limit honored, a mystery approached without being flattened. Adventure points beyond itself. The horizon is not God. The road is not the final good. Risk is not holiness. Craft is not salvation. Family is not complete explanation. Beauty is not fully accounted for by the fact that it moves us. Worship is not reducible to its social function. The stars are not an answer simply because they are far. All of these are openings. They place pressure on the flat account. They suggest that reality is not exhausted by availability, utility, computation, preference, and control. They make man look upward. They do not abolish the need for thought. They intensify it. If adventure is more than novelty, more than status display, more than risk appetite, more than evolutionary strategy, more than entertainment, more than appetite stretching its legs after abundance, then the machine account may be too small for reality. The next question is whether mystery is merely a name for what we have not explained yet, or whether mystery belongs to the structure of reality itself. The machine world will say mystery is ignorance waiting for computation. The older suspicion is different. Mystery may not be darkness where knowledge has failed. It may be depth where knowledge begins. To answer what man is for, mystery has to be faced without letting the machine account flatten it.